What's up, guys? On the Fly is back again tonight and continuing our series with the Brickshore Media Group with Nicole, who has been so gracious to send over these interviews with us tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and say soulful contemporary Christian artist Flynt Adams is with us tonight. And he's here to talk about his debut single, Who Walks on Water. And
I
guys,
love
let me tell you, if you have not checked this out yet, I urge you to go check it out. It's got a great message, and yeah, just a great song. But welcome to the show, Mr. Adams. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Stevie. It's good to talk to you tonight. Be with you.
And where are you at tonight? Where are you at tonight?
I am in Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee. You got the orange on. Looks like a Tennessee.
I did it for you, Stevie.
Oh, come on now. Come on now.
I knew you would ask about the orange. I go, I'm gonna do Tennessee orange, baby.
Tennessee orange. Now, you a Tennessee fan?
I certainly am.
Okay.
I certainly am. I know I've heard your Texas connections and all this stuff, right?
Oh, well, shoot. I'm a North Carolina boy. So, yeah,
Okay. Well,
I'm from
NC's good too. I write
yeah,
songs
I'm from a small town in eastern North Carolina, about 95 people here. We got a
Wow.
stoplight, we got a country club, we got a private school, but actually, and I'll say this, our biggest claim to fame, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do if you follow music, Chris Daughtry.
Of course, I know, Chris. Did you know that I wrote songs with a guy that was friends with Chris Daughtry for years and years? He moved back. He was like a semi-professional golfer. I think he got a job at a country club somewhere
Okay.
back in North Carolina. Todd Ashburn, and
Okay.
he loved Chris Daughtry. I actually, you know what's funny, Stevie? I actually had a song on hold by Chris Daughtry.
Really?
Yes, I did.
See, now Chris grew up down the road from me. So,
Oh wow!
yeah, he
What
was
a
a little
great singer! Great
Yeah,
singer.
he was a little bit younger than me, but he's that's our biggest claim to fame. There, he was, as a matter of fact, all these when he got started getting popular after Idol, all these online places would be hometown Roanoke Rapids. That was a
Right.
bunch of crap there. And he actually went on a talk show, and we recorded a clip. We play it like at least once a year. They asked him where he's from. He said, "Well, I'm from a little town in North Carolina called Alaska." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right."
That's
So,
us.
but yeah,
Back,
that's
back,
us.
back. I love it.
So you grew up. You were born in Mississippi. Grew up
Yeah.
in Louisiana. Now, growing up, who was Flynt Adams listening to as far as music wise go to?
Well,
Well,
I'll tell you, I love radio, and
oh yeah,
so I would lay in my bed at night and sing Willie Nelson because that's all I wanted to hear.
Willie
Uh,
Nelson.
Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, those older country, but there was something about Willie Nelson, Stevie, that was so unique. And I realized that some people go, well, I just don't like his voice. I said, but
No,
it's so unique.
it's
And his
distinct.
melodies were so unique. And I guess that's where I got my, hey, if I ever get into music, I want to do something like that, as not just like Willie, but unique in the sense of come up with something a little different in your lyrics, in your hook of a song. Say something a little different than most people say it. I guess
Right.
that's what I loved about Willie Nelson, uh, and his songwriting, if you will,
Yeah, as far as listening to the radio goes, I'm getting ready to turn 50 this year. So back in the day, kids, we didn't have Apple Music,
No,
Spotify. There, if you
and
wanted to
radio.
hear something,
That's
you had
right.
to turn the radio on, and then you had a cassette
That's right.
or something like that, but you didn't have all this music right at your fingertips like you do today.
Remember Lionel Cartwright, Stevie?
Yeah. Hmm.
And he had that song. Uh, I watched it all on the radio. Do you remember that? You know
Yes.
what? Hey, I got another little a tidbit of info for you.
Okay.
I went to a church here, and it's no longer. It's being turned into a high school now. But Lionel Cartwright was the minister of music there. I got to
Oh
meet him,
wow,
and isn't that crazy? And
that is
so he
crazy.
asked me. He asked me to do. Now, you know Reggie Smith and Lady Love that sing for the Gaither Vocal Band.
Right. Yeah.
I sang with them
Oh,
in a
wow.
concert. It was like a 4th of July concert. So here I am with Lionel Cartwright, Reggie and Lady Love Smith that sings for the Gaither Vocal Band. All these gospel people. I'm literally like,
What the heck?
what's going on here, man? And he's like, okay, so John, I want you to sing a Ray Charles song. I go, he's one of my favorite artists ever. Of course I will. I ended up singing some Ray Charles song, and we sang Dust in the Wind by,
Kansas. Yeah.
by Kansas.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That is
So I'm
crazy.
listening to Lionel Cartwright on the radio going, I love that song. I watched it all on the radio.
Watched it all on the radio.
And then here I am years later going, oh my gosh, Lionel Cartwright. And he's playing violin, he's playing guitar, he's playing everything, Stevie.
Wow.
He was incredible. So that was a unique time in my history in Nashville, if you will.
So you talked about Willie Nelson, you talked about Merle Haggard, and you mentioned Ray Charles. Who were some of your other influences?
I think so. Another interesting story. I started being a professional golf caddy, and I started out at the Golf Club of Tennessee caddying for Vince Gill. Now Vince Gill. So now Vince Gill is one of my best friends. He's one of my favorite singers of all time. In fact, I'm jealous of him. I just can't. I love that tone, you know.
Yes.
I know every time. It's just that tone. It doesn't matter what he sings, Stevie.
He is. I'll tell you this right quick. I was, in the 80s, I was like the 80s rock guy.
Yes.
And I didn't want, I was totally like, no country. I'm not going to listen to country. I just can't. And I'm totally different in that now. When Garth Brooks came along with No Fences, that's changed me. But then I hear this Vince Gill guy, and I watch him playing freaking guitar.
Yeah.
And the guy can freaking tear it up.
Do anything, Stevie. Do anything.
He is one of my, I would put him in top 5 favorite.
Look, we're talking. Yeah, absolutely, Stevie. Look, he goes from walk the floor without until I still believe in you.
Yes. Good.
And look, so he goes from this country, and he loves that, by the way. He loves this bluegrass, high lonesome sound, all that stuff. But then he sings "I Can't Tell You Why," and then he joins the Eagles.
And fits
this guy is unbelievable, and I admire it so much, Stevie. I couldn't look. The first time I met him, Stevie. So I'm out on the driving range at the golf club, and the caddy master goes, "Hey, John, you got so and so and so and so." I'm sitting on the bench out there, and there's so many, rich people and the artists out there, and I go, I look over to my left, Stevie, and I go, "That's Vince Gill." And that's Stevie, I just go, "That's Vince Gill." My heart was starting to beat so fast you could see my shirt move.
I'm sure.
And look, he sits down and goes, "Hey, Johnny boy, how you doing? Hey, Kelly says you got me today. I got a couple boys over here, and we're gonna go play a couple of rounds." I was like, "Okay."
Lord have mercy.
But he was so cool, and I won't say what the temper thing is like on the golf course, but the caddy master did tell me, Stevie. The caddy master did tell me, "Hey, John, I just want to let you know that this might be a rough round for you." I go, "What do you mean? I don't understand." He goes, "Well, if he gets upset a little bit, just leave his bag and just walk on up the fairway about 50 or 75 yards."
Look, let me tell you, I am glad to hear, because I've always wondered. He's always seemed like such a nice guy, and just
he is.
And I'm glad to hear that he is really like that. So
he's a down to earth guy. But hey, Stevie, we all got a temper. We all got feelings about things. But I'm gonna tell you something. One of the sweetest hearts you will ever meet, and he will do anything in the world for you. And he is literally, as you and I both know, one of the greatest musicians God
Yes.
has ever graced on this planet.
I do like a one of the things I do, and I haven't incorporated into the podcast yet. I do like an album challenge, and I challenge myself to listen to like at least one entire album a day.
Yes.
And I've, this has been like 2 years, and I'm on like album 1300. But
wow.
I'll tell you one album that people have overlooked with him, I think, and they shouldn't, because it's got a lot of songs on. But these days, oh my gosh,
Isn't that great?
That is one of his best albums he's ever done. I like I said, I could talk Vince Gill for a while with you, but it's just I heard a funny story that he talked about back when he was in Poco.
Oh, yes. What a great band that was.
Yeah, and he was in Pure Prairie League too. I think when he was in Poco, though, I'm a big Kiss fan. I have been since I was 5 years old. And they opened for Kiss. And I can only imagine when he was singing Amy, what these Kiss fans in the crowd were saying to him.
What are you doing?
Why? Okay, they were like, what is this? And why is this group opening up for Kiss? I can only imagine what he heard that night. But, I would love to hear that story right there. So when did you start, like, picking up on music, like playing? When did that start for you?
Honestly, I can say, I have a musical family. My mother played Baptist piano. I grew up on the front row of a Baptist church in a small town in Mississippi. My dad passed away when I was little over 6 years old, and she remarried about 5 years later. But my sister played for the Southern Baptist Convention and still does, and plays all over the Mississippi area. And so I started playing piano, Stevie, and I kind of just picked up a guitar, and I really loved it more than piano. And I think I've always thought that if Elvis Presley said, if someone's musically inclined, they can pick up any instrument and they can start incorporating it in their life if they put consistency in it, if they put, just time in it. As you and I know, anything in life is done with time. You just put you put time in it. And so I always say, if you love it enough, you'll do it, And so I started doing that, and I started getting a little bit better. And I'd find new tunings, and I'd find interesting ways to write songs and do things. And as you know, you write songs, and some of them are just not good at all, because you're learning. But if you don't give up and you keep going, you start learning. I need to find this hook, this title, and I need to get a melody that goes with that. Now, I still play piano and stuff, and I've written a few songs on piano, but it's mostly guitar. And so to answer your question, I think it was a few years after I started playing a lot of piano and stuff, had many lessons as a kid. And I think I just picked up a guitar and started watching videos, watching people play, listen to albums. And I think if you're a singer like I am, and you want to just mimic what your voice does on the guitar, and you want to find different chords, and you want to incorporate that in a song. And so I just started doing that, and I got better and better and better at it, and just kind of got on fire for it, and it's lack of a better word, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I've got my daughter has actually picked up. Well, she started off actually one of all things, a ukulele.
Oh yeah.
So we got her one of those. She started picking up on that. Then she moved to like an acoustic guitar, and this past Christmas she got an electric guitar. So she's picking up. She hadn't, she started her first year of college, so she hadn't had a lot of time to mess with it.
Right,
and I said, well, I'm gonna get me an acoustic one and try to learn myself. And let me find the time to do it. And that's the thing.
And also, Stevie, it's a great bonding thing for you and your daughter.
Yeah.
I always tell people, if you never do it professionally, you can bond with those you love. You can make memories with those you love. And it's not just about a professional musician. Music is for everyone, and I
Oh
I
yeah.
always stress that. And we always, well, if I can't be a star, I can't be this. Well, we don't know about any of that stuff. We have to put our best foot forward, but making memories with the ones you love is most important.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, can you imagine a day without music?
I just
I
can't.
can't. I can't
We've all
remember.
heard that online. Can you
Yeah.
imagine a day with that? No, we can't. It's just part of us, Stevie. I think it's just we, either a player or a writer or listener. We just have to have it. It's one of the mediums that God made, that it connects the souls. It heals our minds. It actually heals our bodies.
Yeah. I
you know
agree.
we, we can heal with music, and we've heard it so many times throughout the ages, that music does heal.
It's just funny how, and I know it's not just me, but certain songs can bring out certain feelings in you, certain
And
emotions in you.
emotions, you're right.
Yeah,
It's
and
yeah.
that's the ones, and just like with Who Walks on Water, you relate to it.
Yes.
When you can relate to a song. There's songs that I
Couldn't
like.
agree more.
Don't
Couldn't
tell
agree
a
more.
story, but most of the songs that I'm looking for, I want to hear a story. And
I do want to hear a story. Interesting that you say that. So I am at my kitchen table and I'm praying. There's been some backsliding and blah blah blah. We can go through all that. So I just asked God, I want something unique, not just Jesus saves me from this.
right,
I want a unique approach. And I'm going to tell you something about prayer. When you do that, Stevie, something happens and I can't explain it and you
I
can't
agree.
explain it. And I go, Lord, it's not about money. It's not about my fame. Because to be honest with you, Stevie, I had many record deals. I could have had country songs. But I said, I want to make an impact with a song that says you can rescue, as you walk on water, anyone in their sin, in their situation, from their past, from this and that and the other. It doesn't matter. It makes a difference, along with practice and diligence in what you want to do. I'm
Mhm.
not downgrading the importance of practice, because it's imperative. It's like, if I want to play baseball but I sit on the couch all day, it's
You're
not going to work.
right.
So in practicality, along with prayer, supplication, I just wanted a song that meant something, that someone was going so low that they went, God can't rescue me from this, but yes, he can.
Hmm.
And that's what I wanted in this song. And I just happened to play that. Separated from the distant shore, shallow river left me cold and warm, suffocating from a sea of sin, falling for the guilt again. All of that. It's just, I wanted the whole picture to be, I can save you, Jesus says, from
Right.
whatever. That releases you in a way that really words can't describe. And like you and I have alluded to earlier in the conversation, that music does that,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
music really sends that message home. And, I wanted people, Stevie, just to know, wherever they are, whatever they've done, the Lord can rescue you from whatever. And that was just the message.
Yeah, and you hear it all the time. It's never too late
Yeah,
for the Lord. The Lord will always come back, and the Lord will always forgive you.
that's right.
So you get out of high school, you join the Marine Corps.
Hmm.
So you get back out, and you end up starting a band. Talk a little bit about your time in the Marine Corps, and then when you got out started this band.
Okay, so the Marine Corps, my mother had remarried and was divorcing right after, or excuse me, right before I graduated high school. So I just, one day I saw a recruiter walking. I went to Como. I graduated Como High School in Lafayette, Louisiana, because my stepdad worked in the oil field out of Houma, Louisiana. You know how they did. They'd fly in, they'd fly out, and the 2 weeks in, 2 weeks off, 2 months in, 2 months off, whatever that was. So I had a tumultuous relationship with my stepfather. It was pretty brutal, Stevie. And I said, you know what? I'm going to join the Marine Corps. Join the Marine Corps. They got divorced. My mother moved back to Jackson. Actually, she moved to Raymond, Mississippi, where I attended Hines Junior College later. Went in the Marine Corps, graduated boot camp, got back home for 2 weeks, went back. I actually went to grunt school, 0311, in Camp Pendleton, California, for another 3.5 months, which that was not fun at all.
I imagine not.
So I did that. I stayed out in San Diego a little while. I got back. I went to a unit. So I went to a reserve unit in Jackson, Mississippi, which was a 2531. Well, excuse me. It was an artillery unit. And I got cross-trained as a 2531, which is communications. And so I was my CEO's radio operator. Our unit, many years later, a few years later, got moved to Okinawa, Japan for the Gulf War. So for 9 months, I stayed on Okinawa, Japan. So our first sergeant called us to formation one day. I'll never forget it. I'm going to tell you, you talk about a heart going to your bootstraps.
Right.
And he goes, we're going to Fallujah in the morning. And I just went, no way. I go, this is it, So that morning came. We got called to formation again. First Sergeant Jackson said, stand down. The war's over. As you know, the war was only a few hours. What was it? 14, 16, 18 hours. I can't even remember.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
So we were spared from going there. That's how I got my veteran status. Being there, 2 months later, I believe, we shipped back to Jackson. I was honorably discharged from the Marine Corps. Then I went on my way to Nashville. I had, the opportunities I spoke to you earlier about with the Hero Shed and all that stuff. And then the Pat McMakin at Sony Tree, just different people I met. And, I even, started writing with a guy from Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf, wow!
You remember Danny Johnson, the guitar player?
I don't.
Well, just Google him later. Well, Danny's a good friend of mine. Danny and his wife lived in Kingston Springs, and we started writing a lot, and we thought that was going to be a big deal, but we never. Hey, look, that kind of fizzled out. But yeah, after the Marine Corps, just so many things happened, Stevie. So many opportunities kind of, well, God, I thought this was it. Nope. God, I thought this was it. Nope.
Yeah.
God, I thought, you know how that goes, Stevie, as your life goes and all of our lives go.
What's the old saying? God, man makes plans and God laughs.
That's exactly right, boy. You hit that nail on the head.
Yeah. I've heard that many a times.
Well,
so you get out, you talk a little bit about, you get this full ride to Hines Junior College. How did that go?
So I talked to my mother one day. I said, I could use the GI Bill and I could do this. And she goes, why don't you just go out there and sing for them to the whole music department, Stevie? I go, what? What is wrong? No, I'm not going to. She goes, no, seriously, just go out there and sing for them. I did. I got a full ride. I sang a Gary Morris song. Give her wings.
Oh wow, yeah.
So remember, give her thorns and she'll find the roses. Just see the love she found in me. It was all that.
I do remember.
You remember that song?
Yes, sir. I do remember Gary Morris.
I sang that whole song, Stevie. I got a full ride scholarship. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I can't. So I did that. I took music theory for many years. Was in like the plays and the things and that goes on and that type of stuff. And I never graduated. I think I have a few hours from graduating. But the reason I didn't graduate is because a guy named Pat McMakin called me from Sony Tree Publishing and said, hey, I want you to move to Nashville. I got your demo tapes. I'd been making demo tapes with several people around the area, and And he goes, I want you to move to Nashville. I want you to start singing demos for me at Sony Tree Publishing. So I did. I sang all these Harlan Howard songs. Remember Harlan Howard, the old country rock? Okay, so I sang all these things and started making a living. I got a job working at the Cock of the Walk off Brawley Parkway, flipping cornbread. Just the time of my life playing golf, singing demos, writing, and just getting in the throes of all this. Hey, how do you make it in the music business stuff, So that was just one interesting time in my life, learning a lot, growing in music, and obviously playing a lot of guitar and writing songs.
Yeah, and that was my next question, was making the jump. You just answered that, talking about getting to Nashville. We talked a little bit before we got on the air, and this is one of the things I like to hear about songwriting. How you go through writing a song. I mean, some people, you just like you talked about, you start with a melody. Sometimes you start with a lyric. Which one is it? Who knows? And like you said with Willie Nelson, when they asked him, is it the melody or the lyric first? And you said yes. He said yes. So how do you go about it? Is it different every time, or I mean, is it just you have a routine?
I think it is different every time, but to be honest with you, with me personally, got a new song. I don't know if I should play it or not. I don't want to make anybody mad.
Ooh, don't make anybody mad now.
Look, so you're going to interview him in a few days. Maybe you could talk to him about it way quick. And so we wrote a song. We wrote a song, and I'm really excited about, Stevie, and I'm gonna send it to y'all when it's done. I got some guitar stuff going on it, but to me, this song was about his first lyric off the bat, and when he played it for me, I went, I don't really care for your melody and how you structured it, but I love that lyric. So interestingly enough, that was a different approach than Who Walks on Water, which I had the melody for, which I just went for that. But this song, so you're right. It's different every time.
Yeah.
It's different every time. He had, I'm not even gonna play. I don't even want to play. I'm gonna get scared.
Don't get yourself in trouble now. Don't get yourself in trouble.
I don't want trouble. He goes, could you please hold on for a second?
Yeah.
So anyway, it was his lyric, and he goes, John, Flynt Adams, could you put a melody to this? And I go, I would love to. And so he goes, I want you to help me finish the song. So we finished the song. We did a rough demo of it a few weeks ago. We loved it. We didn't like the production like we, as a record would go. So we're working on that, excited about that. But yes, to answer your question, it was different that time, Stevie. Yeah. It was like, he had the lyric. So never say it's going to be this way. Yes. It could be that way. I don't know. And isn't that great about life, Stevie? You just don't know.
Well, you don't ever know. You never know.
That's exactly right. So never say never, never close the door on an idea or a way to a solution.
And see, you're already answering my questions before I even asked, because my next question was going to be talk about working with Wade Quick. So, you took care of that, and I do not want to get you in trouble.
No. Let me tell you something about Wade Quick. Wade Quick has been one of my best friends for years. Him and I met at downtown Nashville at a talent contest. Mm-hmm. So we were in line. I basically said, hey, you want some coffee? Yeah, let's get some coffee. I think his girlfriend at the time went and got some coffee. He came back and we just hit it off. He's an amazing man. He's one of the most underrated writers in this town. I just feel, so deeply about Wade Quick and his passion for music and his authenticity in writing. He had Stained Glass. I don't know if you remember the song Stained Glass.
Right.
What a great illustration about a man who's been through so much. It's almost like a Job life, Stevie. It's like, you still love the Lord after all
this.
And so, and that Stained Glass, every time I hear it, I tear up because I go, that is from a genuine place. And Wade, eludes genuineness. He really does. A wonderful man of God, a wonderful friend, and we write songs together. I love him to death, man. I just do. He's a Georgia boy.
Okay.
And so
Georgia
and so
versus
is
Tennessee.
Michael Lee. You're going to have on
Yeah,
in a little while.
that's tomorrow night. And look,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
What is it about these Georgia boys? They're just God's gift.
Exactly. Evidently. Hey, don't forget about the North Carolina guys either.
That's North Carolina as well, brother. I
So
tell you.
let's talk about Who Walks on Water. This is your
Okay.
debut single. And talk a little bit about how that came about. I mean, you were talking a little bit earlier before we went there about that, but talk a little bit about how the idea for Who Walks on Water come about.
Well, I was like I said earlier, I was sitting at my kitchen table and I was thinking about my life, and I was thinking about some scriptures and kind of paralleling them with my life, and how the Apostle Paul asked the Lord about this certain sin, and he goes, "Could you take this sin away?" And God goes, "No, I'm not going to do it. I could, but I'm not." Now, why did he do that? Because he could have.
Yeah.
But he goes, "My great," Apostle Paul, remember, he says, "I got this thorn in my side." You remember? Why didn't he do it? Because if he did, Paul couldn't have relayed mercy and grace to those that were lost. And I think that is really the epitome of this song. And I was talking to Nicole about it, and Rachel and Randy Smith, the label president. I go, that's really the epitome of the song, is God wants us to show mercy and grace to the lost, and even to the born again that have strayed, because mercy and grace puts that bed of coals on our head, and it brings us back into right relationship with the Lord Jesus. And I think that's really the epitome, the nth of the song.
I mean, and the first time I listened to it, I was like, one of the lyrics that stood out, like I told you earlier, how can you drown a man who walks on water?
That's right.
And that really stood out to me, because when I like every song I listen to, I like to have a lyric that hits me.
That's
and
right.
That would hit me. I mean, that was just an awesome line there.
Man,
But
I prayed about that, Stevie, and I just go, God, I don't want to be in this. I I'll mess it up. And that was the whole. And I thought, when I thought about that line, or said that line, and I thought about that scripture, I go, that's what it is. I said, it's the mercy and grace that draws us back.
yeah,
It really is. And see, because if we can't illustrate and show realistically mercy and grace, why would someone want to come to the Lord, Stevie?
you're exactly right, bud.
Why would they?
This day and time, a song like this message really needs to get out there, because
Yes.
there's a lot of people that are, this is I mean, one of the worst times in this country that I've seen. And
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
people are going the wrong direction.
They're
And
bitter. They're bitter. They're afraid. They're bitter and afraid. And we need to illustrate whatever gifts God has given me, given you as a interviewer, as a person of faith. We need to just go. It's interesting how God, when David, this next song is about David, by the way. I will give you the title. Can I give you the title?
Yeah.
All right, here it is.
Get in trouble.
Dadgummit, Wade, don't get mad at me. Fight Like Heaven. So I'm not going to play it, but I want to tell you, that's what we need to do now. Yeah. Not fight like hell. God said, remember when God, Lord was in the garden and Peter cut off the ear of Malchus, the Roman soldier, and he goes, no, Peter, not by the sword, but by the what? By the Spirit. What is the Spirit? The Spirit of love, the Spirit of faith, the hope of faith. That, we need to put on this armor of God. So when I heard this title, Fight Like Heaven, I go, bing, 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 bing.
Good title.
I'm on it. I'm on that. So that's coming up. And that's what we need to do. That really is. And, because Stevie, we can't do this, what's going on in the world on our own. We can't do it.
No.
We'll never be able to do it. And God tells us we won't be able to do it.
Exactly.
What he says, if my people will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, what? Then I will hear from heaven and heal their land. So we think about that scripture and we go, no, we have to believe in that scripture, and God has to help us believe in it.
So you got to have faith.
That's right.
You got to have faith.
And the song is definitely about the fight of faith. He told Paul, Paul, end of his life, got brutally killed. He says, I fought the good fight of what? Faith.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. That's what we all have to do.
Yeah, definitely. I like that title, though. And Mr. Quick, don't be mad. Don't get mad. We'll
maybe he'll play a little snippet of it for you. I want to play it right now.
Oh, Lord.
I won't do it.
You're going to get yourself in trouble.
I am going to get myself in trouble.
As much as I like to hear it, I don't want to get you in trouble. But yeah, so guys, if you haven't checked him out, check him out. I mean, he's on all social medias.
Yes.
He's on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream your music. Check out Who Walks on Water, because I promise you, you will love it. It's a great song, and debut single. You starting out with a bang. I mean, really.
God bless you, Stevie. I love you so much. I can't wait to meet you in person. Thank you so much for your time.
Before we go, though, I've got one more thing we need to do. I told you we're going to do this to you, so I'm going to get you right here. These are like quick hitting questions that I ask everybody that's on here. So see how you do with this.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Favorite album of all time?
Boston,
great one. Favorite food?
Shrimp.
Louisiana. Yeah, I got you. Chocolate or vanilla ice cream?
Vanilla.
Favorite artist or group?
Vince Gill.
Good one. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
First album or CD you ever bought?
Willie Nelson.
There you go. I knew you would say that. Ocean or lake?
Ocean.
Favorite sport?
Baseball.
First concert you went to?
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson's up here. Favorite TV shows?
Andy Griffith.
Good one. If you could collaborate with anyone living or passed away, who would it be? I thought he was going to say Willie Nelson.
Hold on a second. Can I say two?
Yes, I'll take two. We'll take two.
Vince Gill, Ray Charles.
Vince Gill and Ray. Oh, that's two good ones there. Pineapple on pizza?
Negative.
No. All right. Favorite movie?
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Got you. All right. You passed with flying colors. That was quick. So, all right. Of course, you talked about you've got this new song with Way Quick coming up, which we're not gonna get into. But what else is going on? What is there another single on the way or anything?
Well, that's the single on the way. Fight Like Heaven. That's the single on the way. I was tempted to play a little bit of it, but I'm just not gonna do it. I don't want him to beat me up when I get. No, but there's other songs, Stevie, as well. And we're just going to go. Randy and I talked about it today. We're just going to kind of just go with one at a time and kind of see where that goes, because we're excited about Who Walks on Water. We hope it blesses people. We hope it moves people back to the Lord. And we'll just leave it at that,
Yeah. That seems to be the way to do it today. Do one at a time, The album thing is kind of, especially with when you've got something like Apple or Spotify.
That's right.
Put out these singles, and it seems like it's more feasible for you guys to do that.
That's right. You're exactly right, Stevie.
So, guys, like I said, check him out on all social media. Flynt Adams, check him out. Check out Who Walks on Water, and stream it. Gosh, thank you so much, Mr. Adams. I've had a blast talking to you. I hope you've had as much fun as I've had.
I certainly have, Stevie. I look forward to talking again, my friend.
Yes, sir. Anytime you got anything you want to talk about up here, any new stuff, you got an open invitation right here.
You got it, my friend. God bless you.
All right, guys, that is Mr. Flynt Adams on the Fly.